Why am I saying yes to go to this party? Why? Must I be there? Am I needed? Do I need to be there? Don't I have other things to do? Get to the bottom line of why you are making that particular decision. And there are so many decisions that we make. But the clarity lets you know why you are making that decision. Because the clarity will tell you you're actually making that decision because you're a people pleaser who is hopeless, who cannot speak up for themselves. You're a people pleaser. So when they say at school, oh, we have this, Parents' Day, not even Parents' Day, because Parents' Day is every parent must go. But they will tell you maybe there's a party somewhere and we need someone who can bake. And because you have, baking skills, you're like, it's okay. I'll be there at 6 a.m. to help out. So poor woman, you're there at 6 a.m. You're missing out on your children. Maybe it's even a Saturday. The whole week you have not been with your children and you've not even had time with your husband. 6 a.m. You're, somewhere trying to, come up with things. When things go wrong, they even say a lot against you. But why you are saying yes? Meanwhile, you're saying yes to a Saturday morning. And then there is another one who is saying, kakati, no one is cooking at Lumbe. You're like, nze uyo. Then you come. Then another one is saying, kakati, there is the other person, he's sick, and he needs someone to attend to them, not a relative, not anywhere connected to you. And you're like, mulago, it's okay, kalenja kusula yo bunaku bubiri. And then you are everywhere doing everything. But if you ask yourself, if you stopped in the tracks and asked yourself, why am I accepting everything? You will find out that there is a reason as to why you are. It's very possible that it's childhood trauma that has not been addressed. You are fighting to be accepted by everyone because there were abandonment issues in your childhood and you were brought up in a place that was so sick. And you didn't have a sense of belonging. Literally, you had to fight to make sure that you are accepted by everyone. You've seen those people. They are good to everyone. Why? Because they want to fit in. They want to be accepted. And some of us, our real parents do those things to us. So you must go an extra mile. You must mop until you can eat on the ground in order to be accepted. As in, they have put rules, too many rules. And now you knew the only way you knew how to survive is by overworking and by taking on every responsibility. So now we present ourselves in relationships. So when someone comes and laughs and is like, oh, I love you, then you get into overworking mode. I want you to catch yourself in that act when you are feeling the pain of this person is not giving me time. Ask yourself, why am I clinging in a space that I'm not needed? Clarity. When you ask yourself that question, the second thing you have to be very honest with yourself to face your own monsters and skeletons in the closet. Because the pain is going to come back to you. When you ask yourself, half the time you will be ridiculing yourself. So when you ask yourself, why exactly am I sticking into a relationship or holding on to a relationship where I am not needed, I am not valued, I am not even given the time. I am ghosted all the time. And so you ask yourself, am I being too needy? Am I being too clingy? And am I an attention seeker? You have to get to that time and face yourself and ask yourself, but by the way, I'm an attention seeker. Have you seen, and this sometimes it's on the side of the girls, that call every minute. Someone tells you I love you once and you call 1,000 times. Like this woman has drama. But the woman that has drama, for her, meanwhile she thinks she's lovable, she's doing everything to make the relationship work, and she's the angel of relationships. So she's only thinking, but I have done everything to make this relationship work. Who gave you the job to make the relationship work? Sometimes, I fought with this for the longest time, because part of my childhood, I actually stayed at my uncle's place. When we came, for those that remember my story, when we had just come back to Uganda, I stayed at my uncle's place. So when I stayed at my uncle's place, this was an uncle that had more than 30 children. Yes. And so I was one of those young ones. I've come in, I actually don't know Luganda at that moment, and all the clothes, the suitcase that my mother brought for me, that was the end. Like the moment she boarded the taxi to leave, that was the time scramble and partition happened. So all the dresses disappeared. And they left me with one knicker. I remember they left me with one knicker. It even had nets. So I'm like, now I've entered the jungle. It was a real jungle. You know, survival for the fittest. Like you literally eat because you have fought. I'm serious. Now, I even don't know the language. I don't know what happens, but I get the orientation of there is matoke, a bunch of matoke, and I must cook that matoke because everyone must eat, a whole bunch. I even don't know how to peel. I remember an old woman helping me at some time, and and she was like, you sit there so that the fire does not. So poor woman, poor girl, I'm seated at the sigiri. Meanwhile, my mother does not know. For her, she knows. She took me to town to go to school. But to town to go to school, meanwhile, even my uniform, when I wash it, someone else puts it on. Like, I literally have no uniform. Now, I've grown in such an environment where it's scramble and partition, survival for the fittest. So, I am going to grow up to be this sharp girl that thinks I must, every time, fight. You get it? So, I come with the same mentality, even in relationships. Even in, work arenas, I come and I'm like, survival for the fittest. Let the best man win. And I am so glad that I got my eyes opened so quickly because I got a heartbreak so quickly. When heartbreaks come early, thank you, God. Because bagamba zikusoka nezikolachi. So when I went through that phase, I had to edit my life. I had to reflect because that's what decisions make us do. So I had to reflect and I had to get a sense of clarity. What did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? What must I have done to avoid this? And definitely no answers are coming. And then I got into the chill mode, the chilling mode. And I said, Hilda, you are going to learn to accept love minus fighting for it. Accept love. And I know so many of us are fighting with that. We just don't know how to receive love. We think we have to overwork for it. When I got into the chilling mode, my friend, life became nice. Because then I became this princess. You admire me, you work towards getting me. And if I say no, I have said no. And if I've said yes, I am not saying yes to step on your toes, no. If you want to dance with me, request for my hand to bring me to the center and dance with me, and don't step on my toes as well. So I know my boundaries, I know where you stop, and I know where I start. And life becomes so sweet, because then you are respected for who you are, not the effort that you put in, not the work that you put in, not the somersaulting that you put in. Some of you have become FBI agents. Some of you have even binoculars. Some of you have spying techniques and even apps on your phones. If I ask to check everyone's phone here, my goodness, you will find I check. I don't check. You have saved everyone. So I want you to dig deeper and find the reason as to why you do the things that you do. Why have I failed to forgive? Okay? Because forgiving is a decision. Why have I failed? When I open a business, I am too quick to shut it down when things don't go my way. And I open another one and I'm too quick to shut it down. I have shut down like 5 businesses. Why am I so quick to shut down? Is it that I fear failure? And if I dig and know that I fear failure, where did this fear come from? Okay? So when you dig deep, when you find the clarity by digging deep, then you are going to make different decisions from the decisions that you've been making, because most of the times our decisions become piloted. We are living on autopilot, so your decisions are autopilot. Why? Because for so long you have compromised on your values, now you don't know where your values stop. So you say yes to anything, or you even say no to things that would have helped you. Someone says, you know what, let's go for hold my hand, and you're like, but what new thing am I going to hear there? I have heard so many things. Motivational speakers can speak. Ever since they started speaking, what changes have you made? Ask yourself, what one word have I ever picked and applied in my life? And not on this forum, even for any other speaker. Because some speakers are not for us. You also have to know that, and by the way, you will even connect with a certain speaker and you'll be like, I don't know why I connected with this person, and whatever they are saying is making a lot of sense in my life, and I'm going to go back and apply. And then you will listen to another person and you will feel like putting on headsets and blast your music while you're there, and they think this one is taking in everything. You even shake your head. Kumbe, you're listening to Kadongo Kam. So, not everyone, and not every word that comes to you that is your word, right? So, decisions find clarity. I told you we are going to slow down on this. Clarity demands that you reflect. If something happened in the past, okay, because we make forward movements, but we learn better in hindsight. So you reflect and say, okay, if this happened in the past, why exactly? What got me to this moment? So that it does not repeat itself. Because if you make a decision today, it's so easy, because our minds, there is a way we cram things and we reproduce those same things. So if you applied it, it's so easy. That is why I usually tell people that if you go to one restaurant or a hotel, it's so easy for you to go back to that same hotel. And half the time you'll find yourself seated in the same spot where you sat last time. How many people have witnessed that? Because we are animals of habits. We keep doing the things that we have done before. That is why if you date drunkards, you will find out that you've dated 5 drunkards in a row. If you don't get to catch yourself in the moment and clarify, get the clarity and reflect, where did I find this drunkard this time? Like where? I told you of a friend of mine who said, let's go fishing. Do you remember that friend of mine? A friend of mine, a lady that was, frustrated in relationships. And so one time she tells her friends, let's go fishing. Fishing for men. Yeah, not fishing fish. Fishing for men. So they went to a club. So she sent me pictures. Meanwhile, she had put on like a short dress. Those, babes, eh? Bait. That one, yetega. So she goes. Getting to the club, everyone that is in the club is an old man in a kitenji with a kachindo. I don't know whether that was the African night or whatever night, but na 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 na. While the old men are saying, Eba, you are a young man, you're there, you're thinking, what? What brought me here? So she stormed out of the club, so disappointed. She even called me. So when she called me, I was like, how did the fishing spree go? And we grew up on the same village, so we call ourselves like sisters, but she's the rowdy one. Those sisters that are crazy, but they're still your sisters. So I was like, how did it go? Bahati Hilda, you won't believe what happened. Every man was putting on a kitenji with a kachindo. And I was like, she was like, I kept running from man to, as in, this man comes after me, I run away. The other one comes at me, I run away. I was like, it took you there. But you realize that one bad decision can replicate and duplicate itself in your life if you're not careful. Okay? And I am not against anyone. But I will still talk about it because it will save some people. Have you seen people, it could be guys, that have children in different women, 5 different women? Okay? And they don't stop to ask themselves, the next woman must be an intentional woman. I must get a different person. But because she loves brown, or maybe she loves the slay queen kind of temperament, or she loves, people that pimp themselves, she will always pick people that pimp themselves. So she will go from one pimper to another pimper, another pimpy, another, as in she will go one after another. And on one night stand, that is where the pregnancy kicks in. And then the next thing is, he does not want to deal with smanny vomiting, smanny hormones, smanny what. So while you're vomiting and having your own hormonal issues, he's jumping onto another pimper. But he never stops to think, what's going to happen to these babies? They're going to grow up in different homes with different fathers, stepfathers, and you are the common denominator, as in you brought it all on them. You decided for them. And the same thing goes to the women. And I know there's so many women that I have met that will tell me, you know what? Just when I thought things were going well, things became bad. I did not choose to have children with different men, and that is understandable. But you saying that I did not choose, I will tell you now, it does not exonerate you. That means you did not look at your decisions to get the clarity. What led me to where I am right now? You are with, right now you have 2 children with different men, but you are dating a married man. Who does not want to show anyone that she has? If it was a married man who is thinking, you know what, number one, he's Muslim and he wants to marry you legally, that will be different. I will tell you that is religion. That is different. But you are marrying another, and actually your best friend's man. And and let me tell you, we appear even in church and clap and even worship. We praise the Lord. Meanwhile, you're about to pop another child that is fatherless. Because what took him away from his wife, maybe he's grumbling, we don't have enough time, so he's coming to get his peace of mind from someone who is not committed to anyone, and maybe you have a small waist, and maybe you have, but the moment you say, I am pregnant, then he stops paying rent, then he starts getting trips, and then he starts ghosting you. And you know for sure he has landed on another pimpist. So, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about decisions. And these decisions can go even, remember I talked about our marriages changing, our relationships changing, our finances changing. For you, you've had seasons that you have money. Maybe some of you in November, that was a pick-up season. And December, it was a booming season. And January came, it was a low season. But while the season was booming, you were everywhere having party, and spending as much as you can. But for those that make wise decisions, they catch themselves in the moment. They're like, right now I am getting money after money, client after client. I am everywhere making money. Can I keep some of that money to take me through the January period and the February period before it picks up again? That is a wise decision. But again, you have been in those moments where you don't have money for so long. But it's not because your business does not work, because you make bad decisions. That is when you go for a girl's trip, because every one of your friends is going for a girl's trip, and they have to shop new clothes. So you shop new clothes. And, because someone bought a car, you also buy a car. Because then how are they going to see you on a border? Because then we are not making good decisions. Okay? So let's go away from clarity, but clarity contains reflection, self-awareness. Why am I cheating? Really? For those of you that are here and you're serial cheaters. Cheats or cheaters? We are all here. And we all belong to this community and we love you. Hey. But we all make different decisions, right? But that does not mean that we are not a family. As in, you cheat. When you ask yourself, what exactly are you looking for? The self-awareness and the reflection. What exactly are you looking for? If you're dissatisfied with that person? Can you lay down that marriage or that relationship so that you can go on your merry way? So that, because then you will not be cheating. A person that has no partner does not cheat, right? You are free to have all the fun that you want. But for as long as you open your mouth and tell someone, I love you, and it's an exclusive relationship, it's you and I in this relationship, and then you introduce a third party, then who is fooling who?